Hello class, our topic for today is lesson 1.6, how to multiply integers. So starting with our definition here, we have two different definitions for us. We have the distributive property and we have the identitive property. So our distributive property tells us that when we multiply a times b plus 6, what we really can do is a times b plus a times c. That should be an a right there. So all we're doing is we're multiplying the number outside the parentheses times both numbers inside the parentheses. So with actual numbers here, if we have a 2 times 1 plus 3, that would be equal to 2 times 1 plus 2 times 3. And those will come out to the same number. And lastly, the identity property. So the identity property tells us that 1 times any number is going to equal that number. So for example, 1 times 5 obviously equals 5. 1 times 4 obviously equals 4. 1 times 1,000, it's going to throw us back to 1,000 right there. So that's just our two quick definitions. Now let's get into our problems here. So what happens when we multiply integers? Well, when multiplying integers, if the signs are the same, the product will be positive, and if the signs are different, the product will be negative. And just remember that multiplication is only repeated addition, so it allows us to kind of think about that in that way. So this is a little bit different than our adding rules, right? So if I'm doing a positive number times a positive number, that's always going to be positive. Same with a negative number times a negative number. Since these signs are the same, I would get a positive product, or positive answer. But what if we have a negative times a positive? Well, that's going to give me a negative number. And if I have a positive times a negative, that'll also give me a negative number. So when the signs are the same, it's a positive number. When the signs are different, it's a negative number. Okay, so in this lesson, we are going to master multiplying integers. We will learn the rules on when the product will be positive and when it will be negative. So let's start with our example today. We want to use a number line to show negative 10 times negative 3. So if I quickly just draw a number line here, I'll show you guys what I mean. This is just a visual example for you here. So if we think about this as I will say a 0 here, 10, 20, 30, and then negative 10, negative 20. So the negative 10 would show us about this distance here, right? So we can think about that as that distance. So if I have 3 of those, it would look something like this, right? We go all the way over to negative 30. And that we got the 3 because we're multiplying by a 3 here. But that's not a positive 3. It's actually a negative 3. So that means is we need to do the opposite. So we'll move over this direction in 3 groups of 10 here, and we would get all the way to 30. And that means that negative 10 times negative 3 would be equal to 30. Now, if we're doing this using our multiplication properties, let's think about it like this. Let's think about it as having a negative number times a negative number. Well, of course, that's going to give us a positive product, right? So then we just have to do 10 times 3, which is equal to 30. And then since we already know this is a positive number, it would be a positive 30. All right, so continuing with this examples here, we have negative 6 times negative 2. So class, do we have the same signs or different signs here? To me, it looks like we have the same signs. So that means our product is going to be positive. And then 6 times 2 is 12. So we'll get a positive 12. Alrighty, on this one here, we have more than 2 numbers, right? So let's just break this down piece by piece. Let's start on the right side over here. Let's do negative 9 times negative 2. Well, that's a negative times a negative, right? So we know our product is going to be positive. So first off, the 5 stays the same. And then 9 times 2 is 18. All right, now we got to multiply 5 times 18. I know 5 times 20 is 100, and then we're subtracting 2 groups of 5 off that because we're not multiplying by 20, we're multiplying by 18. So that means 5 times 18 would be 90. And this is a positive 90 because we have a positive number times a positive number. All right, keep the train rolling here. Try to get it in one video here. Which product is greater, negative 4 times negative 6 or negative 7 times positive 8? Let's think about it like this. This one we have a negative number times a negative number, right? So that means our product is going to be positive. On this one, I have a negative number times a positive number, which means my product will be negative. So right off the bat, we know this one's larger, right? Because a positive number is already greater than a negative number. And that's always true. So 4 times 6 is 24. 7 times 8 would be 56. So we get a positive 24 and a negative 56. The positive 24 is bigger. Alrighty, guys, all I need you to do is finish up with that conclusion here. Write 2 complete sentences on multiplying integers, especially the same sign versus the different sign. I really want to see you guys include that. Alrighty, everybody, thanks for taking notes here, or if you took them in class, that's good as well. See you all in class on Monday. Bye-bye, team.